It doesn't matter if they stack the box against this guy. He accounted for 30% of Tennessee's offense. How important is it that the Titans get a long-term deal with him?
It's important probably that they don't. I mean, like, it's great that they want to, that they've shown an inclination. They want to work something out. He signed his franchise tag and all that stuff, contract and all that. But the reality is the NFL is set up in a way that for a team to do right by its players, it usually has to do wrong by itself. That's why there's a salary cap, a hard cap. Make no mistake, it has zero to do with competitive balance or anything like that. It is 100% always simply a wealth transfer from the players to the owners. That's it. So they've set it up like this. Boy, we'd really like to do the right thing by Derrick Henry. And if they do, by the way, good for them, good for Derrick Henry. Maybe not great for Tennessee fans. Look at the way running back contracts have worked out in recent years. And especially, take the Los Angeles Rams, Todd Gurley, right? They would be in the last year of his deal, and that would be it. But instead, they paid him all that money way before they had to. You know, look at the way running back contracts tend to work out. Not that great for the team. Le'Veon Bell with the Jets. The list goes on. Now, Derrick Henry, you just mentioned it. You could stack the box against him. Is he really known for catching passes out of the backfield? He's a little bit more of an old school back. That's a more punishing style. He has so many carries. He's 26 years old. They just franchised him. They're going to ride that train this year. They can franchise him again. Ride it again. And by that time, he's 27 years old. Well, you're looking at your 29 season. We'll give you a 2-year contract. He's going to say no. You know, that's the way it is. The long-term deals with running backs don't work out well for teams. It's messed up. I hope Derrick Henry gets his money, but we're talking about the reality of economics in the NFL. It is set up to hurt the players, help the owners, and the number one position that suffers from it are running backs, and Derrick Henry is exactly the type of back who suffers most.
Well, I think that your discussion and your position is a bit irrelevant to this particular question because of who we're talking about, Max, and that's the Tennessee Titans. For the last 4 consecutive years, each year they finished 9-7, but they rode the coattails of Derrick Henry last year. A couple of years ago, he didn't even have 200 carries. The season before last, he had like 215 carries. Then it exploded to about 303 carries last year, which is, obviously contributed to his 1,540 yards, league-leading rushing last season. But he's a big back. He's known for one that punishes defenders, not the other way around for the most part. And when you consider how much, so much of this success is predicated on him running the football, not just how he helps elevate Ryan Tannehill, not just how he helps open things up for an A.J. Brown, a Corey Davis, a Delanie Walker, and those guys, but also take into account what he does for the defense in terms of assisting and moving and changing and things of that nature. I know you're not questioning his value as a running back in terms of what he brings to the table. What I'm saying is if it were a different system where guys were utilized differently and more judiciously, I think your argument would be more profound. But the fact that he's so important to think schematically in terms of what the Tennessee Titans elect to do, I think that he's worth more than a 1-year deal. Obviously, I'm not saying a 4 or 5-year deal or anything like that, but a 3-year deal, particularly considering his age, is more than fair, along with the fact that he's such a big punishing back. He's not some miniature dude that beats you with his elusivity and things of that nature. He actually punishes you. And because he's able to do that, the question is, do you think, well, you could say it's bad, and I'm saying that in most situations, I would agree with you. I just don't think it's applicable to him. Because I'm looking at what he distributes. It's not that he doesn't have speed or anything like that. It's that he not just has speed, but he's also capable of punishing you. And I think 2 to 3 years is a good deal for him.
Let's take it is for him. Yeah, we're talking about the team, though. Like, let's take your argument one point at a time. The fact that he's big and punishing and he inflicts punishment means that he will see more contact. In fact, that's his style than a guy who's more elusive or a guy catching a lot of passes who's lining up all over the place, which means his shelf life should be shorter, not longer. You have to have more concern. Let's take the season he just had. We showed the graphics. First in touchdowns, rushing yard, everything. He was all world. You already got that value out of him. If you're talking about fairness to the player, doing the right thing, you're absolutely right, Stephen A. do the right thing by Derrick Henry. We're talking about if it's wise for the franchise. It is set up in a way that there are limited resources. You have to be very judicious about the way you allocate them. So when you look at Derrick Henry, you got the value from this season. How many more seasons like this you think he's going to have? Because in the history of the NFL,
well, who says it has to be a season like this? That's my point.
What I'm saying is there are only 2 or 3 seasons where you have outsized value like that even. Now, he's age 26 and he just had one. Let's say he has another this year. You got him on the franchise. Let's say he has another the next year. You can do it again. Why pay him when you don't have to is the point, a view that most teams, most of the smart teams take. Why pay him ahead of time?
Well, you could say that, but I could reverse it by going like this. If you're Derrick Henry, why do I have to carry the ball 303 times? Why can't I be utilized as a decoy? Why can't I go back to carrying the ball 215 to 230 times? Throw some more passes to A.J. Brown. Throw some passes to Corey Davis. Oh, by the way, you just gave Ryan Tannehill $118 million over the next 4 years with a minimum of $61 million in guaranteed dollars or $91 million if you talk about fully guaranteed. The reality of the situation is that you can utilize Derrick Henry in a multitude of ways. The key is to have him and to have him happy. I'm not saying that you don't make the business decision if you're the Tennessee Titans. I understand what you're saying, but there's another element to the equation. I take into account what a person means to a team, what a person means inside that locker room. Oh, by the way, if you were to screw him over and he's a bit disgruntled, but he's back in your locker room, the kind of profound effect that could have on a team that was just in the AFC Championship game. There are ways to sit up there, take care of Derrick Henry while still making good business sense and using his presence to elevate and capitalize off of the presence of others, using him as a decoy. He doesn't have to run the football 303 times. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.